Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's still a little warm today, but not too bad. We're supposed to, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, increased chance of rain. Actually, tomorrow night looks like a pretty decent chance of rain for most of the area. So we might get a little cool down, a little wet down, because we are in at stage 3 drought now here in my side of the county. The county's about split in half because, we had so much rain on the other side of the county a couple of days ago. But where I'm at, we're at a stage 3, serious drought level. So, we could definitely use some moisture. Man, a lot of stuff's going on. I've been talking off and on for weeks now about the whole AI stuff and how the whole world is moving that way. It's not like it's a left versus right thing or vice versa, but they're all in on it. And really, between the AI and the digital currencies and all this type of stuff, about the only real difference in anything is how it's implemented. Conservative versus liberal. When it comes to government. There's a school bus stopped up ahead, so I got to slow down for it. But they're all pushing for it. It goes across borders. It doesn't matter if you're enemies in some ways or you don't have all these nice relations. Doesn't matter. The technology is where it's at. So anyways, since Trump's been over in England the last couple of days, they announced that the United States and United Kingdom has signed a $40-some billion deal along with OpenAI, Microsoft, BlackRock, NVIDIA, all these other big tech companies to build quantum computing and AI for healthcare. Because that's coming, folks. In fact, most industry experts believe that the first area of our lives that we will see AI really kind of take over is probably in healthcare. That's one of the very first things that was spoken about when Trump took office, was artificial intelligence kind of managing your healthcare. So get ready for that. The alliance that's being spoken of in the Middle East is growing, and many of these Muslim nations, it looks like Pakistan is going to kind of be the leader, and they're all kind of wanting to tether themselves to Pakistan because Pakistan has nukes. And so what these agreements are going to start looking like, at least what's being said is that it'll be like NATO. There'll be an Article 5, or they'll probably call it something else. But, if Israel were to attack, Kuwait, let's say, or Qatar, or Saudi Arabia, or Egypt, or Turkey, and the alliance as a whole declared, okay, this is for us to go into business, Pakistan could nuke them. Pakistan has been talking for years how it would just love to, turn Israel into a glass parking lot. So interesting how those developments are going on. Of course, the stuff surrounding the Charlie Kirk assassination is still happening. His wife was elected to be the leader and president of his organization, and a lot of stuff's popping up about it. The Congress today voted a national day for the Charlie Kirk Day. The military is considering ad campaigns talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination to use it as a recruitment tool. A lot of stuff going on with that. I mean, is that news about the end of the world? No, but it's just showing the whole atmosphere of the country. The president says that he's signing an order to make Antifa a terrorist organization here in the United States. And so there's just a lot bouncing back and forth. But the big thing I think that's happening right now that is catching people off guard is exactly what I talked about this morning, and that's this attack on free speech. And here's the thing, when I talk about it, or other people like me, we're getting kind of beat up. I've seen conservative people that I know that are solid conservatives online, and they speak out against what's happening. They get attacked. They're like, yeah, but so you're saying that you like the news media? No, I don't. You're saying that you like what these people... No, I don't like what these people are saying. I think it's awful. But I also don't think that we should criminalize it, and that we should, from a position of public power, be encouraging the silencing of someone's speech. A president and the government from the United States should be encouraging free speech. You know, that they want to say, hey, if you're a private business and you want to do this or that, that's one thing. But we as a nation should embrace freedom of speech, even if it's speech that we don't like. Because that's the real true test of it being free. If you can't say speech that people don't like, then you don't have free speech. I mean, folks, think about it. So today, the president said that he's considering and looking into the possibility of revoking FCC licenses for news companies that aren't nice to him, that talk bad about Trump. Not necessarily about Charlie Kirk or any of that other stuff, but talk bad about him. And he talked about how, you know, that every night they get on there and they criticize what I'm doing and everything, and they can't do that. That's not right. And so, yes, I understand there's FCC licenses, but the FCC licenses does not say that they have to, you know, be fair to the president. In fact, that's been a tradition in the United States to always criticize the people in power. And so once again, we're watching little by little, but it's fast moving actually. The president, his leadership, and many, many people following him embrace this idea that used to be a far left-leaning idea 5, 10, 15 years ago. You know, when the term hate speech was being used, conservatives are like, there's no such thing as hate speech. It's just speech. We don't need to have laws against hate speech because we have freedom of speech, and hate speech is speech, even if you don't like it. And now we've got conservatives screaming about hate speech and that it needs to be, you know, prosecuted, it needs to be taken care of. And now we're going after the press. And I'm telling you, I can't stand any of these news agencies. I don't care any of them. I haven't watched any kind of mainstream news channel, and I don't know when. I mean, I don't watch TV. I haven't had any kind of TV news service in years, well over a decade. So I don't watch any of it. And as far as I'm concerned, even the most conservative is not conservative enough for me. But it's still speech. And when we get to the point that as a government and a people, we have the power to restrict and take away rights that are clearly laid out in the Constitution, take away rights from people we don't like, then they can take away rights from us when they get into power, or even worse. This is an extremely slippery slope that we are going down fast. In like a week's time now, a lot of the country and the leadership is pushing and embracing controlled speech. Not free speech, controlled speech. Regulated speech. Criminalized speech. What's happened. I've seen people in the comments say, well, you haven't been able to yell a fire in a movie theater. That is a myth. You can go into a movie theater and you can yell fire and not go to jail. Okay, stop that. It's just an old wives' tale. This is one of the very bedrock principles of this nation. It is even more so than the Second Amendment. The speech, the freedom of speech was like the pinnacle reason that our founding fathers did what they did. They wanted a nation that they weren't taxed and that they could speak out about it, that they weren't taxed, overburdened, and speak out about it, and then able to defend themselves. And several other things, yes. But the freedom of speech was one of the most important, critical areas. And you know what? It's not been the left, it's not been Biden or Obama or Bill Clinton that is criminalizing speech. It's the Republicans. It's Donald Trump. Were they doing cancel culture when Joe Biden was in office? Yeah. But was Joe Biden from the podium, from the White House, speaking out against speech and saying that it needed to be criminalized and licenses taken away and investigations by the DOJ because they protested him or because they didn't like him? I don't recall hearing that. People need to wake up. If this does not stop, all the things that I have talked about and you have thought about of how fast this all is moving into a totalitarian new world order, it's moving way faster. If this does not stop, we're going to get there a whole lot quicker. And you better wake up, folks, because this is not looking good at all. You don't have to like what I say. Guess what? It's free speech. I don't have to like what you say. It's free speech. People just, they're this idea that they want to live in an echo chamber now. They don't want to listen to anything that contradicts anything that they think, like, or feel. That's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. I mean, I'm very hard right leaning on a lot of things. I'm an ardent constitutional libertarian. But I don't have a problem with people saying radically left things. I don't have problem people talking about, all their things that they enjoy. As long as they're not harming anyone, as long as they're not trying to force that down my throat or especially use it to indoctrinate children in innocence, that I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. It may be wrong, but they can do it. But when we have government, we have the heads of state speaking out and encouraging canceling people, encouraging the restriction of speech, and making threats that he's going to use the power of the law to criminally go after people that are saying things against him or that he doesn't like, we are in very, very dangerous territory, folks. And I don't care what you think about Donald Trump. I don't care how well you think he's done or how awesome you think he is. This, my friends, is extremely dangerous. And if we don't start backpedaling really soon from this one issue, we won't have a country to speak of in a very short order. You need to get your houses in order, folks, and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.